Let's move on to the third question, and that says that find the values of the unknowns in each of the following parallelograms, right? In the second question, we were given rectangles. We had to find the value of unknown right angles in the rectangles. But now we are given parallelograms. So now let's recall the properties of parallelograms. So now in parallelograms, opposite sides are parallel to each other and they are equal in length. So this one is opposite to this one and this one is opposite to this one. They are parallel to each other and equal in length, right? Opposite sides are. No, the same is the case in rectangles. Opposite sides are equal and parallel. Is the case here. What's the difference? The difference is in rectangle, all angles are of 90 degree, right? But in parallelograms, it's not important that all angles must equal 90 degree. In parallelogram, it might increase to 90 degree, it might decrease, right? So like this, here, this one angle is 106 degree, right? So another property of parallelograms is that opposite interior angles are equal in length, right? So this one is opposite interior angle, this one is opposite interior angle. So interior angles are equal in degrees, right? They are equal. So this one, DAB is opposite to DCB, right? These two angles are opposite to each other, right? Do you see it? So this one is angle is opposite to this one, so they are equal in length. So we have to find the value of a degree. We have just found using a property of parallelograms, that is opposite interior angles are equal. So these are opposite interior angles. So value of a is 106 degree. So that is not a difficult question, right? So we have solved the first part. Now moving on to the second part, we have to find the value of p degree. How we'll do it? So now another property of parallelogram is that adjacent angles equal 180 degrees. Sum of adjacent angles equal 180 degree. What are the adjacent angles, right? Let me explain to you. So now I have written this thing on a blank paper, right? So this is a parallelogram, right? I have drawn it. I not drawn it perfectly, but manage it, right? So this one angle is adjacent to this one, right? So sum of these two angles will always equal 180 degree if it's a parallelogram. This one angle is adjacent to this one, so these two angles are adjacent, right? So these they are both sum will equal 180 degree. This one is adjacent to this one, so sum of these two angles will equal 180 degree. So this one is adjacent to this one, so sum of these two angles will equal 180 degree. But if I take this angle, right, and if I say this angle, sum of these two angles will not equal 180 degree, right? Because they are not adjacent angle, right? But right, they are not adjacent angles. The sum of adjacent angles is 180 degree. So this one is not adjacent to this one, rather this one is adjacent to this one, this one is adjacent to this one. So sum of adjacent angles equal 180 degree. So I've explained it to you that adjacent angles are these angles. So this one angle is adjacent to this one, this one is angle is adjacent to this one, so this one angle is adjacent to this one, right? So now let's solve the first part, right? And then we'll move to second part. Then I'll explain to you how do we use this, how do we solve this, right? So now what we will do is we'll write DAB angle DAB equals angle DCB, angle DCB. Now we have to mention the reason why did I make them equal. The reason is that opposite interior angles, opposite interior angles inside a parallelogram are equal. That's the law, right? Suppose the interior angles inside a parallelogram are equal. So this one angle is equal to this one. So value of this one angle, we know the value of this angle, right? The value of this angle is 106 degree, right? Instead of writing angle DAB, I wrote its value and it will equal angle DCB. Do we have a term here? A degree. We have named its value as A degree, right? So we'll write A degree. So 8 degree equals 106 degree. That's easy. So we are done with the first part. Now finding the value of second thing, that is B here. So now what we will do is we know that adjacent angle equals 180 degree sum of adjacent angle. So what we will do, I'll write it as this one angle DAB, right? angle DAB, right, plus angle this one, this whole angle, not just this part 48. You don't have to do that. But if I'm giving you an equation and you write it like this, that this angle, angle DAB plus angle this 148 degree equals 180 degree, this will be wrong, right? So remember, do not do this mistake. I have said interior sum of adjacent angles. So this one is adjacent to this whole angle, not the part of it, right? So exactly. So A, now this part has been divided, this whole angle has been divided in two parts. I'll mention two parts separately. Either I mention this whole or its part will be the same thing, right? So I'll mention its part. So I have written angle DAB plus angle ABD, right? Angle ABD plus angle DBC, right? Angle DBC equals 180 degree, right? So I have now see, look at here, angle DAB, this one angle, equals angle ABD, this one part of the whole angle, and plus angle DBC, this one part of the whole angle. So if I mention this, that these two angles equal angle ABC, angle ABC, right? So this one is a whole angle. I have divided into two parts. That's what we are given. So angle DAB plus angle ABC, they are supplementary angles. Sorry, they are adjacent angles, right? So by adding these adjacent angles, we get 180 degree its value. That's a property of parallelogram, right? I mentioned here that this one angle is plus this one angle equals 180 degree. So that's the case. But in this case, this angle has been divided in two parts. So instead of writing the whole angle, I have just written its two parts, right? So that's the thing. In case, for example, I'm explaining it to you with an example, right? This is 106 degree. If I say this is 30 degree, and this one is also 30 degree, and the whole is 60 degree, right? It's just an example, it will not equal 180 degree. So if I say that sum of these two angles equals 166 degree, so what you will do, 106 plus this whole angle, this whole angle, the value of this whole angle is 60 degree, equals 166 degree, right? But instead of writing 60 degree, I write 30 plus 30, 106 degree plus 30 degree plus 30 degree equals 166 degree. Did I do anything wrong? No, exactly. You will say the same thing. You will say that either write the whole thing or its part will be the same thing, because 60, 30 plus 30 will always equal 60. So that doesn't matter. This is what I have done here, right? Instead of writing this whole thing, this whole angle, I have written its parts. So whether I write this or this will be the same thing. So sum of adjacent angles, this one is adjacent to this one, I mean 106, this angle is adjacent to this whole angle, right? So instead of writing this, I have written this part. So now moving on, angle DAB, the value of it is 106 degree. I'll write, instead of writing DAB, I'll write 106 degree plus angle ABD. ABD is A, B and D. We don't know its value, so we'll write the same, angle ABD plus angle DBC. So do we know its value? DBC, right? We know its value, it's 48 degree. So 48 degree is equals 180 degree. So now adding these both up, 106 plus 48 degree will equal, first let me write this one unknown angle, angle ABD plus, now 48, right? We have to add these both up. 6 and 8 equals 14, so 1 goes up, right? So 4 and 1 5, and this one remains here. So this is 154 equals 180 degree, right? So now angle ABD, so this is in positive terms here. If you move to another side of an equation, it becomes negative. So 180 degree minus 154 degree, right? So now angle ABD equals, if we subtract 154 from 180 degree, so it will equal 26 degree. So this is the value of angle ABD. So here we'll write this one is 48 degree. We found the value of this angle, and this is 26 degree, right? Angle ABD, angle A, B and D, right? So this one angle is 26 degree. So now, since we found the value of this angle 26 degree, now you will be thinking that why did I find the value of this angle, since we are not given the value of this angle, right? So in the question, we had to find the value of this angle, that we did, right? by saying that these two angles are opposite interior angles, and inside a parallelogram it's a rule that opposite interior angles are equal. So we found the value of this angle. Now in order to find the value of this angle, what I thought of is a triangle, right? So do you see any triangle here? This one, right? This parallelogram has been divided into two triangles. So this one is a triangle, right? So this one, if it's a triangle and we know the value of just one angle, what if I could find the value of this angle? I just did. If I could find the value of this angle, then I will be able to find the value of this angle. Why? We have done it many times, right? If I give you any two angles inside a triangle, you will be able to find the value of third angle. How? You will use a law, and that says that sum of all angles inside triangle equals 180 degree. Exactly. So I found the value of this angle. How did I find? I used the law of parallelogram. In a parallelogram, two adjacent angles, their sum will equal 180 degree. So I used one. This one is adjacent. This one angle is adjacent to this one. So I wrote that this angle plus its two parts, this one part and this one part, their sum will equal 180 degree. So by using that, yeah, right, we have written it in equation form and we have solved it here, right? So we have solved and we found the value of this angle 26 degree. So now moving on, what we will do is we will write angle DAB, angle DAB plus now angle A, B and D, right? This one angle A, B and D plus angle, this one angle B, right? Angle ADB, angle ADB equals 180 degree, right? Now moving on, are we given the value of DAB, right? Yes, of course, we are given the value of DAB as here DAB, that is 106 degree. So we'll write, instead of writing DAB, no, first that's I'm making a mistake. And what's that? I didn't mention the reason that why it equals 180 degree. So you don't have to do this mistake. Mention the reason. The reason is sum of all angles inside triangle equals 180 degree. All angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree, right? And we'll mention the triangle and its vertices are A, D and B. A, D and B, right? This one vertex, this one vertex and this one vertex, these are three vertices of a triangle. So I mentioned that. So sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree. So we are given the value of DAB and that is 106 degree plus, are we given the value of ABD? Let's check out. A, B and D, yes, exactly, we are given its value is 26 degree. ABD starts from A, B and D, so this angle, so its value is 26 degree. So instead of writing ABD, I'll write 26 degree. Are we given the value of this ADB? No. This angle, this is what we have to find out. Angle ADB equals 180 degree. So now adding these both up, 106 plus 26 degree, it will equal 6 plus 6 equals 12. So 1 up, 1 goes carry, 2 and 1 3 and 132 plus angle ADB. Now it equals 180 degree, right? Now this 132 is in positive terms here. If you move to another side of the equation, it becomes negative. Angle ADB equals 180 degree minus 132 degree. So angle ADB equals 1. If we subtract 132 from 180 degree, what we will get is 48 degree. So now this angle ADB has been named as B degree. Its value has been named as B degree. So we'll write, instead of writing angle ADB, we'll write it as B degree equals 48 degree, right? So I don't have any problem if you write ADB, angle ADB or B degree, that's okay, right? So let me summarize this question, right, and explain it to you again.